Alright, we're going to do another video here of talking lines, where I just go over lines of play from games that you can find on YouTube. So this game that we're going over today is game 3 of the Cross Continental Challenge between Zan Syed and Moyen here. So this is game 3. Zan's on green steel playing against Moyen on purple steel. And Zan had the game locked up if he would have played this turn slightly different, but he made a huge mistake. We'll get rid of this little bubble here, and it ended up costing him the game. So we're going to go over that big mistake, and we're going to talk about it, talking lines here. So at this point of the game, Moyen just passed turn. He is currently at 12 lower. He quested with 2 Maleficents and played a Calhoun. He moved the Calhoun and the Maleficent onto the Queen's Castle, which had 2 damage on it. So Zan had just played his Ursula, 3 cost, the double singer, and he's going into this turn. He has Let the Storm Rage On. So he's going to be able to double sing this, which is going to be huge. And this turn kind of decides the rest of the game. If he plays this turn correctly, he just wins from here. If he doesn't, there's a chance that Moyen can still pull this game off. So we're going to freeze it right here. And what would you guys do in this position? So when I was listening to that game, I was kind of driving for work. I deliver packages and stuff for my job, so I was mostly listening to the game audio formed. And in my mind, the first thing, just instantly thinking is, oh, you're shooting 2 Maleficents, because that's 4 for 1 value. Card players, you play a lot of games. Card advantage is king, and just getting the most value you can will just help you win the game in a lot of cases. So that's 4 for 1 because you're getting rid of 2 Maleficents and you're drawing 2 cards. So you're getting 4 card difference for this 1 card. Something that you instinctively don't want to do or feel like it just feels bad is shooting this Calhoun. Because Storm the Rage On deals 2 damage, Calhoun only has 2 willpower, except she has resist, so you're only going to be dealing 1 damage. But even still, that is the correct play, is just to get rid of this Calhoun. Because Calhoun is readied, you can't get rid of it any other way. So the best way to get rid of it is to use songs to be able to get rid of it. So you'll be able to shoot it twice, and you'll still be able to draw the 2 cards to replace the Storm the Rage On. This cat just jumped on my table. Really, cat? All right, get in my lap. Anyway, so you're going to clear the Calhoun, and you're going to draw the 2 cards. So that's definitely the correct play. But then after this, there's another thing that I want to talk about, is that just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. So singing 2 songs, you're going to get 2 triggers of muses. And what Zan does is he just returns 2 Maleficents to Moyen's hand. But this is a terrible, terrible mistake that ends up eventually costing him the game. So we'll get to the part where he bounces, he clears the Calhouns, he draws this card, and then from here, he's like, okay, let's just bounce his Maleficents back. And I guess getting inside Zan's mind, if I had to guess, is that he was kind of his back was against the wall early on in this game. Moyen had a pretty aggressive start. Moyen was doing pretty well being aggressive with all these Maleficents, and Zan was probably sweating a bit. But then he started turning the corner. And I think once he started turning the corner, getting the game under control, he started getting that confidence. And sometimes you can get overconfident, like you don't think through your plays as long as you could. So it's, you're making plays quickly. You're like, okay, I'm going to bounce this. You kind of go into autopilot because you're like, okay, I thought I was losing this game. No, I'm going to win this game. So you kind of just go into autopilot and you just start doing things. So he returns the Maleficents to Moyen's hand. And because of this, Moyen's able to play them again next turn, readied. So alternatively, Zan could have just challenged them and taken them out with the Muses and a Pluto and just gotten rid of the Maleficents, get rid of the evil witch, bam, she's gone, banished. You don't have to deal with her. And your cards still survive. They just have some damage on them, but they're still fine. And then you're able to clear the castle next turn because you got 2, 3, 4, 5. You still have the amount of strength to clear the castle. And this leaves Moyen with 12 lore on board. He can go to 14. And we know from earlier in the game that Moyen is holding 1 Fire of the Cannons. So, from that position, I think Zan just wins this easily. But, because he bounced the Maleficents, we'll see what happens because of this decision that he did. Which, Zan is a great player. He's won a DLC. He's day 2, I think every other DLC that he's went to. And, gotten very far, top 8s, top whatevers. He's just, you can't argue with how strong of a player Zan is. But this is mostly just to showcase that even great players make mistakes. Nobody plays perfectly. And it just goes to show how one small mistake can cost you a game. So instead of clearing him, he returns the Maleficents to hand. And then he puts 3 damage onto the castle. And he was playing out 2 Diablos, which is huge. He dumps his hand, 2 Diablos. So look at this board. This board is insane. Like, you should not be able to lose from here with this board. But because those 2 Maleficents are back into Moyen's hand, instead of the discard, it changes things. If he would have challenged, because putting 3 damage onto the castle doesn't, no matter what, you're going to clear the castle next turn. So if it had 2 damage on it, or if it had 5 damage on it, no matter what, you're going to clear next turn. The only difference is that the Maleficents would be into his discard, Muses would have a damage, Pluto would have a 3rd damage, and that's all. So we know that Moyen has a cannons, so you know one of these Diablos isn't going to stick. But the one that does stick is going to allow you to draw an extra card every turn, so you'll be drawing 2 cards a turn with this insane board. So Moyen, he gets 2 lore from the castle, that puts him up to 14. He's looking at his hand. And there probably isn't too much to think about, but he's like, okay, I guess I'm just going to clear one of the Diablos, of course. Shock the bird, shoot it down. And then he's going to play, I guess I'll just play out these 2 Maleficents and hope you don't draw a song. So they're out there, they're ready, you can't challenge them. And he moves it onto the castle, which doesn't really matter, but you should be in the habit of using your ink anyway. So from this point, Zan draws, he top decks. Oof, what's he get? He gets a Pete. So he plays out the Pete. He quests, or he challenges he clears the castle with the Diablo. He quests with the Muses, Ursula, and Pluto. And he plays a Pete. So Moyen's at 14 lore. He takes his next turn. He draws. He quests with 4. So he draws, and Zan gets an extra draw from the Diablo sticks. Moyen looks at it for a second. He's like, yep, aggro deck just quest. That's what I'm supposed to do. So we'll quest for 4. Up to 18. And then he plays a Fox, bounces a Maleficent, puts it back out. And now he has lethal on board, unless you answer the Maleficent. And even if Zan was able to answer the Maleficent, this Fox gets him to 19, which makes Goat lethal and makes White Rose lethal. So you just gave Moyen more ways to win the game. But we see what happens is that Zan takes his next turn. He doesn't draw a song, and that's the game. And that's the game. And then in the post-game interview, he talks about it a little bit. He hasn't quite seen the line yet. He thinks that, I just got unlucky. But I'm sure that when he goes back and rewatches it, he'll see the right line because he is a strong player. And he probably he's a strong player that plays with other strong players and has other strong players that are his friends. So I'm sure they've already, if they've seen this game, they've already told him the line that's like, oh man, shoot, I think you punted that. But that is my second video of talking lines. So even great players make mistakes, and the key is just to realize them when they happen. I think when I was rewatching this to actually, prepare for this video, so I could go over this video, I had to rewatch it just to see what the lore was, because I was listening to it when I was driving at work, so I didn't really see what was going on. I was able to watch the comments of all the players, like really strong players in chat too, that were just talking about things, and none of them really called out the huge punt that he played here. They mentioned, someone called out the turn before this where Zan plays an Ursula just to look at Moyen's hand, and someone's like, oh, I don't know why he did that. Moyen doesn't have any songs. But I think that was still a great play just to see what that one last card was in Moyen's hand. And we saw that it was a cannons. So that in itself was okay value. That was an okay play. But this play, this last turn was a huge blunder, and he probably, that was the losing line. I mean, Moyen, if he would have just cleared the board, it would have been very, very, I don't think Moyen could possibly come back from that. But my first Talking Line games was another one of these Cross Continental Challenges, and that was with the Frank Karsten versus Sailor match, where I think Karsten misplayed game turn 3. But the thing is, that's really hard to see if he did or didn't. So that's way more open to debate, because it's so early in the game that you can't see the cascading effects of the one decision. So because he played one decision slightly different, like the trees, it splits. And because of, if he would have been more aggressive turn 3, like I think the game would have been over in like four or 5 turns. But since he took a different route, the game went longer, way longer. And I actually like it because it was a super exciting game. So go watch the Frank Karsten versus Sailor game. It was very exciting. But yeah, if you guys made it this far, thanks for watching. I'm busy with work. Like, I don't get to play that much Lorcana, unfortunately. I work a lot. I have a family, so I have my son and my wife, who I try to spend time with, and there's really no Lorcana scene that's close to me. I pretty much only go to set champs and then watch DLCs. So I don't really get to play a whole lot, but I am a competitive player at heart, so I just love watching all the people who can travel and compete do it. And I just love to watch and kind of guess their lines and be like, oh yeah, that's good. Oh, that's good. That's good. I'm like, oh, I don't know about that one. So I guess I'm a professional backseat gamer, just like the rest of Twitch chat and YouTube chat. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought. I tend to make more of these Talking Lines videos where I just watch DLCs, go over footage, and just point out plays. And I hope that it's a good resource for newer players who are looking to compete and just to see different plays. And yeah, I also am thinking about just doing like some mechanic or theory, just teaching videos for new players, just basic game concepts that if someone that's played card games for a long time, a lot of people already know that, but if this is your first game, you're just getting into it, just a lot of fundamentals that'll help you just improve and prepare for, either playing it, getting better at your locals or set champs, or if you do travel to the DLC and want to do your best, hopefully I can just do some more tips and tricks and just ways to practice to improve, to be intentional about growing as a player. But yeah, I guess I'll end the video here. I respect Zan, so even though this is like, oh man, coming for Zan, he's a great player. He can handle it. I love watching his podcast. They have a Club Lorcana podcast on his channel with him and his buddy Jeremy. And I'm sure they'll be talking about this game in the next episode they release. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a good week.